So my job is really simple for the Industrial Foundation annual meeting. The first is to just get folks to sit down so we can get started. The second is to remind everybody here that the number one job that we do at the MBEDC for the Industrial Foundation and our agreement to work together is maintaining a fantastic business park. I can't think of, there are lots of great examples in the park. None are better than the place we're in now ahead. Ann's gonna say a bit more about that. But we do not do that alone, right? So it's our partners in city government at Department of Public Infrastructure and Facilities that help with that. It's our partners at the Greater New Bedford Refuse District. Scott is here. All those little day-to-day things mean a lot to having one of the greatest business parks in New England, and that's certainly what we have. We also want to take a moment and thank our private service providers. Don Vigen and his company, caring for the landscaping and maintenance. I have to check my notes here because we're talking about 248 separate visits throughout the year. Deborah Trombley tells me 1,298 hours of labor, as well as Madison Security for keeping an extra eye, for being that set of eyes that when there's something that unfortunately is going awry, they're the first folks that call the New Bedford Police or the Dartmouth Police to make sure that we're safe here. And again, another 1,977 hours from them. As you can see, Deborah Trombley is a precise bookkeeper in managing the operations here. So with that, what I want to do is ask Ann Bromhall, the CEO of AHEAD, who's hosting us today. You know, Ann and Stephen and the whole team at AHEAD, they're always super engaged partners with the foundation, either what goes on in the park or the foundation's mission citywide. And that's why we love coming here from time to time to host this meeting. So for everything that's going on at AHEAD today, please allow me to introduce and welcome our host, Ann Bromhall from AHEAD, CEO.
Thank you, Derek. So good afternoon, and welcome to AHEAD. It's great to be able to host a meeting such as this. It's been a lot of friends here, a lot of business park neighbors. Really good to see all of you all. Some I hadn't seen probably since the whole pandemic ago. I think the last official event we had here was the mayor standing in our front lawn with cable access talking about reopening protocols in May of 2020. So, and since our reopening shortly thereafter, of course, following strictly the mayor's guidelines, I'm proud of all that we've accomplished here at AHEAD. We've installed a new automated warehouse system. We've taken our business paperless. We've continued to expand into new markets and grow our business. And we've also renovated our entire facility, which you're sitting in right now. And that renovation signifies our commitment to New Bedford and to the business park. We didn't spend what we spent on this facility to leave. So we're here for the long haul. It also elevates our space for the many customer visits we have. We have high-profile customers that come from all over the country and actually all over the world, really, to come see us here, view our products, and buy from us. And of course, it makes it better to host an event such as this. And for those of you who are not familiar with AHEAD, some of you don't know what we do here, I'm just going to quickly tell you about that. We are a headwear, apparel, and accessories company that customizes those products with our customers' logos on them for sale across the country and really the world. And we ship approximately 5 million customized units of product a year, 80% of which are customized in this building here in New Bedford, not in China, not in the Orient, not somewhere else. So we're really proud of that. Our biggest market is golf, but over the past few years, we've really expanded. You can find our products in universities across the country, in resorts across the country and worldwide, in Caribbean bars. We have a very high concentration. If you go on vacation in a Caribbean bar, that's where many people I meet at a barbecue know our product from, not from a US Open or another golf event. And for those of you who are golfers, we have a presence in all 4 majors, which is a very strong statement. And we are a lead provider to the PGA Tour. And in case in the back of your mind you're wondering, yes, we did sell Live Golf a tiny bit of merchandise last year, but we keep that under wraps. We have our roots in New Bedford, but in 2011 we were acquired by a larger company out of Sweden, New Wave Group, so we're part of a big multinational company. They are public on the Swedish Stock Exchange, but we really operate wholly owned subsidiary, like very independently, so we assimilate with New Bedford, Our roots are here, and again, we're committed to the region. And we're also a good-sized employer in this region. We employ approximately 200 people with skill sets ranging from embroidery machine operators to graphic designers that design the logos that go on our product. And it's one thing for me to tell you about what we do here. It's another thing for me to show you. And if you're wandering around after this meeting, feel free to go out here. There's a big staircase in the middle of the building. And if you go up and take a left, you can go to our product showroom and you can really see what we do. It's filled with tons of logoed merchandise for Harvard University and the PGA Tour and Arnold Palmer and the Kentucky Derby, and I think you'd be really interested in seeing that. You can also go straight out the back of the upstairs hallway, and you can get a bird's eye view of our production area. Now we're on second shift, so it's not going to be quite as active as it would be in an earlier part of the day, but if all this intrigues you and you would love a guided tour during our peak times, reach to me and come back. Happy to do that. I do it frequently. Derek and a few of the EDC staff came a couple weeks ago on a scouting visit, and I toured them through, and I think they would say it was worth the time to do so, hopefully. And a final few plugs, because I do have the podium. If your business needs logoed product, we are happy to work with you and provide that. We have a friends and family discount. We do business with Turks. We do business with some other local companies, and we're happy to do that. Typically, we sell corporate and businesses through ASI distributors, but for our friends and neighbors and family, we will sell direct. And one of the most frequently asked questions I get from those in the community this time of year is, when does your annual sample sale open? I'm not sure if you've heard about that, but we do have an annual sample overrun sale. November 17th, that's a Friday, 3 to 6 p.m., and we'll be posting the hours shortly. So if you want to get some really great merchandise at a great price for the holidays, please come by. And before I turn it over to Liz, I want to acknowledge the members of my senior team who are here. My VP of Operations, Barb Casagrande, is in the back. I think many of you know Barb. I run the company, but Barb runs the company. Okay, I give the tours and all that, but she really is rolled up her sleeves. And right next to her in that effort is Steve Nuger, who also sits on the foundation board. And up in the eaves up there is Mark Higdon, our Director of Marketing. He may be taking a few pictures of the evening as we go on. I want to thank the foundation board, Liz, your group, the MBEDC, Mayor Mitchell. You've always been very, very responsive to our needs, a friend to a head. I know you're responsive to other businesses too, but we've always felt like you're responsive and helpful for us, and for that, we appreciate that, and hopefully that'll continue well into the future. And I want to now, I guess, turn it over to Liz, who will introduce the mayor. So thank you.
Thank you, Ann. As Derek mentioned, we should stop by and see you more often. I officially want to thank you on behalf of the Industrial Foundation for hosting us here this afternoon. I think it was 10 years ago when we were here last time, roughly, and I have to say I love all the changes you've made. This is absolutely gorgeous. I also want to acknowledge the elected officials who are here today. We're City Councilors Naomi Carney and William Brad Markey, whichever it is. And although he isn't here, even though this is the Greater New Bedford Industrial or the Business Park, we physically are located in Dartmouth, and I want to thank Dartmouth Town Administrator for keeping good relationships between the two municipalities. Before we get into the official business, I want to take a moment or two and remember my old friend Leonard Poyant, who passed away earlier this year. Richard Poyant, who is his son, will join us a little later today to make a few remarks about his dad. But I want to say that Leonard was actually a pioneer in this park. I mean, his family started as a small business up in the north end of New Bedford, and they've expanded into a company that has national recognition for the work that they do. So he's a family man and a great corporate citizen. Could I ask for just a brief moment of silence for Leonard, please? Thank you, everybody. One more piece of pre-business work. Our long-standing partnership with the EDC has resulted in our having a full team of professionals working for the benefit of the park and park companies. And before we get too far into the program, I want to thank the whole EDC team for the work that they do for the foundation, the park companies, and the businesses throughout New Bedford. The foundation is fortunate to have the complete complement of all these professionals available to us on a day-to-day basis. Derek, Ramon, Jessica, Deborah, Margot, Nancy, and Hendrik. And now, Nella. With that, it brings me great pleasure to call the meeting officially to order. The New Bedford Business Park demonstrates the strengths of having a diverse local economy with national and international companies. The park is home to all manners of companies and manufacturers with skilled people, logistics specialists, artists, designers, which is a very important part of what this company does here, and a couple of other companies too. And we have, with Margot leading the creative consortium for the EDC, it's really important. In a post-pandemic world, the diversity and connections to larger markets gives our city and surrounding towns tremendous competitive advantage. That advantage becomes clear when we see the park sites for expansion move through the permitting and early site work for day-to-day activity throughout the park continue along its bustling pace. Highlights for the last year include a proposal to construct a 30,215 square foot commercial building on a portion of the existing parcel at 61 John Vertente Boulevard that was approved by the city's planning board. The site's been cleared and we're working in partnership with the new owners and their brokers, recruiting a new company to the site. The 14-acre site that is known as Lot 11 is now owned by D.F. Prey, and with this site cleared as well, other preliminary development work is underway. This parcel abuts the freight rail line and can support 100,000 square feet of new office or light manufacturing development. Marketing the site for new users was underway in partnership with D.F. Prey, as several leads have expressed an interest in this facility. The city completed an environmental baseline assessment for the potential buyer of its small parcel on Duchesne Boulevard. They are now in the process of preparing a lettered report for the buyer to review with their environmental legal team, as well as preparing geotechnical boring work. The New Bedford Industrial Foundation Executive Committee began meeting and scoping exercises with the city's Department of Public Infrastructure to undertake a comprehensive study that assesses the future infrastructure and operational needs at the park and how best to meet those needs by working together. The study is intended to explore maximum build-out scenarios for existing parcels, emergency access needs, pedestrian usage, improved safety and security, and expanding sustainable beautification as much as possible. I also have one special update that I want to do and I'll need the mayor's help, so be ready when I say so. The Greater New Bedford Industrial Foundation has agreed to donate approximately $145,000 to North Star Learning, a minority-led nonprofit organization accredited by the Council on Accreditation as part of their construction of a 14,000 square foot state-of-the-art childhood education center that will service the most vulnerable children in New Bedford. This gift is made possible by a payoff of their mortgage that they had here in the park at 267 Samuel Barnett Boulevard, and represents the value of all of the interest on the mortgage. The foundation board felt very strongly that this gift was appropriate because these kids are the future workforce of New Bedford, and it's just appropriate that we do that. So, Maria, if you could come up, and Mayor, if you would join me, please. This isn't the real one, but we will get the real one. We need to do, I don't know if anybody's, we need to stand in front, I don't know who's taking pictures, maybe we need to get in front of the podium. So there you go, Maria. Very happy.
So I'll be really brief. Anne, thank you for hosting this event. I appreciate that. Thank you. And to the Greater New Bedford Industrial Foundation, on behalf of myself, the board, and 135 children and families that we'll be able to service in this new building, we thank you. This industrial park was our home for 20 years. And so we leave a piece of ourselves behind, and I cannot thank you enough. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay. That was a lot of fun. So before I ask the mayor to come back to the podium, I want to say that the services that the city provides to park companies are critical to the success of the park and the skilled employees that work here every day. All through the summer, our team and the city crews were working out needed repairs and other park enhancements. This just goes to show that the city is a great partner, and John Mitchell continues to be a hands-on mayor and champion for the park and foundation. While we rely on our partnerships with the many agencies and organizations, it's our relationship with Mayor Mitchell, the City Council, police and fire, and all the city departments and city yard that is most critical to our efforts to drive the investment and job creation in the park. John, would you join me, please?
Well, hey everyone. Glad we got back in here, and this is a great site and venue, and getting better all the time. But I was struck by your reminding us that the last time we were here was a COVID event, set an example kind of event about the kinds of stuff we should do to keep one another safe. And it's astonishing to me. I think everybody, Joe Nauman's given me the speak louder signal. I don't know if this is working well. Is that better? Yeah. It's astonishing to me that it's been 3 years ago. I think we all sort of feel that way about the pandemic. It's kind of has distorted our sense of time, at least over the last few years. But here we are, and here's the park really thriving. And it's just, as you drive in here, you can't help but feel the energy and the growth. And every time I come in here, there's something else going on that I hadn't noticed before, which is great. So first, a lot of thanks, Ann. Thanks for hosting us. Thanks to the head generally for their great support and leadership here. Liz, thank you for your longtime leadership of the Industrial Foundation. It's been really a great run, and it continues today. The entire board, Dave, everybody on the board itself, Mike. Thank you for really just being there for all the companies and elevating the stature of the foundation. And of course, Derek and his team, Tony, and the whole team at the EDC for the operational support here. The work of the park is really integrated into the work of economic development in the city. It's very seamless now. That's, I think, so important in so many ways. So thank you, everybody. I really, just from the bottom of my heart. And Maria, thank you for not only what you did here in the park, which continues, but what we have to look forward to down on Rivet Street. We're moving ahead with that facility. It's been a little bit of a challenge, but I know, Maureen and others have been active in that, getting that off the ground, but it's now getting off the ground, and it's going to be a first-rate site. So we're looking forward to that and what it'll do for the neighborhood, but most especially for what it'll do for the kids in the city generally. I want to just offer just a couple of thoughts, and really I think one of the biggest things is, it's been a time of uncertainty, to say the least, right? We just have gone through a 100-year pandemic, and if somebody had told us that some 3.5 years ago or so, 4 years ago, you'd be like, what? Oh yeah, I remember reading something about the Spanish flu and all that, and it's just like, that doesn't happen anymore. Well, it did. We just got to live through that, and now we're in the aftermath of all of it, and so there's still stuff that's not quite the way it was before, right? Ranging from things like the inflation, however it's defined, the interest rate environment, a major land war in Europe, all these things that we're familiar with now, and of course all the political divisiveness in the country. And I just want to, as I stand here today, I just want to thank all of you guys for plugging away. I mean, we're moving ahead. We, the city, we, Greater New Bedford, are moving ahead because we've been very focused all together, and I mean that all together. We've established, again, together, with a lot of the folks in this room and others, an approach to urban regeneration that works, and it's all about focusing on a common set of goals and working together. And so there are lots of places around the United States, including here in Massachusetts, where those relationships don't exist, that teamwork doesn't exist, and they don't satisfy their aspirations for themselves. They don't meet their goals. We're doing that here, and it's objectively demonstrated in a lot of the employment data that we look at and the growth of the city in many visible respects. But there's also a feeling that we're really moving ahead and progress is being made. So that gives me a lot of hope, and I know it does you as well. The thing I want to just say is, and I appreciate the introduction, Liz. One of the themes, though, that I try to underscore, which might run a little bit counter to what you offered up, is that, we in city government work really hard, and it's true of all the agencies that you mentioned, DPI and public safety, and they're really good at what they do. Refuse, Scott. But, in the long run, the cities that thrive are the ones in which the business community understands its enlightened self-interest. These are places where people put their investment capital where their mouths are, and for the good of others in the community writ large, but also because they know that if the place succeeds, their own organization stands to succeed. And the New York Times has written, there have been a couple of really terrific op-eds in the New York Times on that point, about how the importance of local capital, and local capital that is associated with some civic obligation. And so just Google it. I mean, there's one piece on a guy named Richard Ravitch who lived in New York. It was about titled The Life and Death of American Cities. There's another one just a few weeks ago that was titled The Hidden Reason Why Cities Fail, right? And so it really gets at the need for business leadership and the involvement of business leadership in the long-term success of any place. The Biden administration's policies, I will submit, I don't say this in a political way, although I do support the president, but the Biden administration's economic policies are in the vein of place-based investment. Like it does matter where you put your business capital. We in New Bedford have seen the flight of capital over a long period of time, and so what we're doing here is trying to get folks to continue to support the leadership of the business community and their investments here, and how that might sustain the place. I can think of no better example than Len Poyant, right? So in the Poyant family over decades and decades, not only is Poyant Signs known for its excellent products, which sell themselves, but they dot the city, even if you don't know, and many other parts of the country. And this is the famous Citgo sign above Fenway Park, but many other famous places. But Len Poyant and Richard and Steph and the whole lineage, right? They're committed to this place. They are New Bedford through and through. And so, I'm so pleased, Richard, that we're honoring your father today. It's very appropriate. I say this not to steal your thunder. I'm sure you're going to have a lot more to say about him than I would, but his example is one to admire and emulate, because it's one of achieving excellence in business and doing well, but also doing a whole lot of good through his leadership and his commitment to the place and what that meant for New Bedford for a long time. So I just want to say, many thanks again to your family for what you've been able to accomplish. That's all I have today. I wish I could hang out with you guys. I have 2 other events I got to go to tonight, so I got to split. Unfortunately, I would like to hang out, but I'm sure we'll have time to catch up, but it just can't be tonight. So anyway, thanks for a great event, and we'll see all of you, I'm sure, soon enough. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to pass off the microphone, because I'm too short to make it work, to our Vice Chairman, David Cabral, who is pinch hitting for both Bob Mitchell, our Secretary, and for Jeff Van Keur, who is our Treasurer. So I will turn it over to you, David. Thank you.
It should be a better height, I think. All right. Let me get, all right. Thank you, Liz. The minutes of the meeting from September 6, 22 are in your packet. And if I can have a motion to approve. Second? Anyone, all in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay. Looks like the minutes of the meeting has been approved from September 6, 22. Let's move on to the election of executive committee members and then to the election of officers. For the members, this is the exciting part. According to our bylaws, the members of the executive committee whose terms are concluding are to be elected for new terms at the annual meeting by the trustees. The nominating committee nominates the following slate of executive committee members. The 3-year terms to expire in 26, the nominating committee nominates David Cabral, myself, Stephen Nuger, Kevin Carando, Donald Rudnick, and Michael Tavares. Can I get a motion to elect the nominated executive committee members for 3-year terms as presented? Get a second? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Welcome back. Stephen, Kevin, Donald, Michael, and myself. To the election of officers. According to our bylaws, the officer of the organizations are to be elected at the annual meeting by trustees. The nominating committee nominates the following slate of officers. For chairman, Liz Isherwood. Vice chair, David Cabral, myself. Secretary, Robert Mitchell. And treasurer, Jeff Van Keur. Can I get a motion to accept those slate of officers? Second? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Motion carries to accept the slate of individuals presented to serve as officers of the Greater New Bedford Industrial Foundation. Congratulations. Thank you, everyone, for being patient. And now I'll continue to pitch it for Jeff Van Keur. The Treasurer's Report. The Greater New Bedford Industrial Foundation derives income not only from land sales, but from the partial reimbursement of its landscaping and maintenance costs for the common areas of the park from the park companies. The foundation is a nonprofit that absorbs all administrative and operational costs, with the exception of most of the direct landscaping and security costs. As in past years, we continued to pay close attention to cost savings and austerity measures, while still increasing our efforts to beautify the park and continue to work on improved landscaping. Total landscaping was $36,989. Additional security time was increased to a total of 1,977 hours, totaling $40,895. The foundation closed the year with $841,456 in cash on hand and $13,025 in accounts receivable, as well as $164,959 in accounts payable, which includes the return of $144,915 with interest to North Star, which we saw today. As of August 31st, there was $613,981 in net assets, supporting the $164,959 in liabilities. Since the fiscal year ended August 31st, the audit review has barely begun, but will be accomplished in the following months. We will be glad to send you a copy of the final review upon request to either Jeff or Deborah, and any specific questions before can also be directed to Jeff or Deborah. This completes my report. Do I get a motion to approve the Treasurer's Report? Get a second? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. The treasurer's report for 2023 has been approved. Thanks again, and let me hand it back to Liz to conclude our official business.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Okay, at this point, I'd like to ask Richard to come to the podium and just say a few words about his dad, Leonard. Richard knows better than most just how much his dad built their company into a national leading company, raised a great and large family that is well known to many, many people in Greater New Bedford. So please join me in welcoming Richard Poyant, President of Poyant Signs.
I invited Stephanie to stand by my side, as she has been for the last 7 years. Almost nine. When she rejoined the company. So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to share with you a little background about our family business and my dad. Our story is similar to so many local family businesses that we have been privileged to work with over the last 85 years. Companies like Millhench, New Bedford Welding Supply, Delkin Dry Cleaning and Laundromats, LaFrance Hospitality, Boca Restaurant, Clean Rentals, Horatio's, Costello Realty and Insurance, Morin and Pepin, Roland's Tire, and so many more. Our story begins with my grandfather, Morris. His dad was an entrepreneur. He started a shoe cobbler business which grew into Poyant Shoes. Some of us might remember. My grandfather had gone to work in the local textile mill and decided that wasn't for him. So he put himself through Swain School of Design, which is now part of UMass Dartmouth, and went to work at a local sign shop doing hand lettering, which is really a lost art today. In 1938, Morris opened his own shop in a rented storefront on Coffin Avenue in the North End with the name of Art Craft Signs. The name says a lot about my grandfather's vision on providing quality design and craftsmanship and why that concept continues to be fulfilled by our company today. In 1940, Morris purchased a building on Acushnet Avenue, and over the next 40 years, my grandfather and my father, Len, continued to expand, investing in the latest equipment and trucks, while focusing on growing our team. In 1958, my grandfather renamed the company Poyant Signs, and the roof sign was changed accordingly. Morris always was looking for new and different approaches to growing his business. His friend owned Alameda Bus and needed someone to paint and letter their buses, so my grandfather built a large garage addition to the building so he could take that on as new work. My dad, Len, worked side by side with my grandfather, learning every aspect of the business, and like my grandfather, was always looking for ways to improve and grow the company. And when my grandfather became ill at a relatively young age, Dad, who was even younger, had to learn how to take over the business, the management side of the business, learn estimating, selling, collections, purchasing, and managing people. My grandfather passed away in the early 80s, leaving my father at the helm. Fast forward to 1997. We had outgrown Acushnet Avenue. We were building signs in the backyard because we didn't have enough room inside the building. We had 50 employees fighting for parking space in the neighborhood. So Dad began looking at properties, vacant land, looking at the possibility and the cost of building a new building, until he came across the empty Isotronics building in New Bedford Business Park. Our Acushnet Avenue building had grown to 12,000 square feet. The Isotronics building was 44,000 square feet. And when Dad brought me in the building for the first time, it was just so much larger. And I told him he was crazy. It was much more than we needed. And he said, we'll grow into it. So Dad stayed the course. He worked with local contractors like Dupree Construction, Morin and Pepin, Roberts Construction, Advanced HVAC and MV Electric to make the changes we needed to operate, including a 5,000 square foot addition to accommodate our spray painting and loading operations. And together, with the support and assistance of the New Bedford Economic Development Council and the City of New Bedford, we qualified for a TIF and a short-term loan from New Bedford Economic Development. And Bay Bank and Seed helped us with financing as well, including an SBA loan. And that enabled us to move into the new building for us in 1999. And looking back at this step, Dad was right. We needed the space, and this was the quickest way to get there. Moving into an existing building really set up for future growth. And we wanted to grow, and he had confidence that we would. The business, like family businesses, was only one piece of Len's story. He and Mom brought up 6 children, emphasizing church, education, and scouting, providing a strong foundation for our development. Mom and Dad were Girl Scout and Boy Scout leaders, and Dad also somehow managed to serve over 30 years as a naval reservist, retiring as a senior petty officer specializing in damage control. My dad, Len, believes strongly in participating in industry trade associations and volunteering his time to help the industry improve and to learn from the experience. Dad was born an optimist. He always found the good in any person, any situation. Dad was forgiving and accepting of others as they are, much like my grandfather. Which reminds me of a Saturday morning when I was around 12, and I was sweeping the shop floor on Acushnet Avenue, and my broom handle hit the side of a brand new, double-faced neon glass sign, sitting on sawhorses, ready to go. And I knocked it over. Crash. Every neon tube in that sign was demolished. Probably 3 weeks of payroll went with it. And of course, Dad and Grandpapa came to see what the ruckus was about. And they didn't yell, they didn't really say much. And they didn't ban me from the shop by some miracle. And it was a lesson, they saw it as a lesson to be learned, and I've never forgotten it. Today, we're working through a 10-year transition plan to pass the family business to the 4th generation. Our family is grateful to employ and work with very talented staff, having the opportunity to be based in this great city and be located in the Bedford Business Park with so many world-class companies all supporting the larger community that we love. And we thank you.
Well, that was really nice. I learned things about Leonard that I didn't know. Does anyone have any other business questions associated with the annual meeting? And if not, I will call the meeting closed. And please stay and network and enjoy the great food in this wonderful new HGTV quality room. Thank you, everybody.